Delighted to be sitting down with Geraldine O'Shea from Goodness Grains, who we met 8 years ago, where you launched Goodness Grains at Catex. Tell us how that started for you.
So our business is Goodness Grains. We're a gluten-free bakery based in Longford. The business is owned by a guy called Michael Kelleher, and Michael's background is in restaurant and food service.
Yeah.
So he has a couple of restaurants in Dublin, and going back to about 2010, a gentleman literally walked into one of the restaurants in Dundrum and took a packet of bread out of his pocket, and Michael put a bit of chat on him, and it turned out it was gluten-free bread.
So he brought his own bread to the restaurant?
He brought his own bread
Yeah.
because going back 10 years ago, or 10 years plus, he couldn't be confident that he could go to a restaurant and there'd be gluten-free bread on the menu.
Yeah.
So look, the next day there was gluten-free bread on the menu in Douglas and Caldy, which is the name of the restaurant. So Michael went about trying to source more gluten-free products for the restaurant.
Yeah.
Found it very difficult. There was a chef in the kitchen at the time who had worked in a gluten-free bakery in Denmark.
Yeah.
So we set about trialling different products. Some customers who came into the restaurant were celiacs. We set up a really small little focus group of 3 people back then, and we trialled and tested 2 products. We trialled a lemon tart, a gluten-free lemon tart,
Remember that, yes.
which is still with us.
Yes,
it's still in our range today, and a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And that's where it started.
So you had your own restaurant to test the product, and do you still do that today? Do you still test?
We absolutely do. So the business has obviously grown in the intervening years, but and the market has grown to include not only celiacs but very much mainstream consumers now as well. However, we always go back to our core celiac focus groups when we're developing a new product, because at the end of the day, they're our core market. And those are the people who need to eat gluten-free food. So we continuously go back to those same focus groups to test our products.
So you formed a nice niche. How important has the brand been, the brand name and the whole brand presentation, to sort of opening the door for new business?
So when we started out doing our trialling and testing, we had a brand we kind of made up ourselves, which is called Live Free, and it was nice. It was fine for the first, while we were doing all the trials. But we decided that we need something a bit slicker, a bit more marketable, if you like. We met you guys. I can't remember how now exactly. I think we got a recommendation, maybe from Board Beer Enterprise Ireland. I'm trying to remember. However, and I remember it very fondly because it was completely new to us. You know, developing a new brand. It was very exciting. Following lots of sitting down and chatting about who we were and who Michael was and what we wanted from the business. We arrived at Goodness Grains, and we still have the exact same brand and the exact same corporate ID and everything today, and we love it. And we get huge compliments on it everywhere we go. All the shows, whether it's here in Ireland or in the UK or even in Europe.
So it's played an important role in getting you the conversation going with the new customer.
Absolutely, completely.
Great. So new product development, what are you looking at the moment? What do you see the future on your mind?
We spent, so the COVID was obviously very difficult. Our business is split 50-50 retail food service, so food service obviously fell off the cliff for us during COVID. So we concentrated on retail to grow our sales. However, we spent a lot of the time during 2020 working on new product development. Category insights during the past couple of years have shown us that consumers are looking for healthy options, good for you, low carb, gluten-free, free from, vegan. And at the other end of that scale, they're looking for indulgence. They want a treat, whether that's as a result of COVID and us all being.
And Goodness Grains can travel both of that.
We can tick all of those boxes.
Brilliant.
So, for example, we can offer a healthy gluten-free bagel, which we developed during 2020 for a major retailer in the UK. And that is also a vegan product, so we're crossing, and it's also very good for you. On the indulgence side then, we have developed, again for a UK gluten-free company, we have developed a range of really indulgent tray bakes. They may not be very good for you, but they do tick the gluten. They do tick the gluten-free box.
Now and again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And in the sort of 8 years you've been with the brand, what have you learned about new product development and the role of design in that, and that you might have known before? Things that maybe a bit of advice you might give somebody starting out.
I think to have the right brand for your product is critical as you begin your journey as a new business. And I think that brand has to say something about you or who you are.
Okay.
So, for example, if I go back to Michael's, his restaurants, so when he started his restaurants in the early 2000s, he really wanted to have a wholesome ethos about the food that he served and the service he was providing.
Yeah.
So wholesome would be a very central to his ethos, and that has kind of transcended over into the Goodness Grains business as well.
But also exposing a bit of your own soul as well, a bit.
That's exactly it. So you're kind of wholesome. So it's important to have almost a piece of you in your brand. Yeah. Because it's part of who we are.
Yeah.
You live it every day.
Yeah.
And when it's your own business, or when you're involved in a small business like that from the very beginning, it really becomes part of who you are.
So you've obviously been to a lot of shows. I've seen you guys at Bloom as well. You must see a lot of young food brands coming up. Must be quite exciting.
Yeah, it is. So I suppose, and I was only saying to somebody earlier who had met us over the years at different shows, when we started out, we used to go to some of the retailers, so John's or Tesco, Super Value, where we were starting out, and we would put up our little tasting stands and we'd interact with the customers. Yeah. And it was a really exciting part of the business. It was hard work. Yeah. And we met lots of other small producers who were starting off as well. Thankfully, we are still here and we've grown. It's been as a result of a lot of hard work. Yeah. Sadly, some of those companies aren't here anymore. But it's great to see new companies coming up. It's great to see companies that have been with us on the journey since we've started as well. Because I think Irish producers have a bond, and particularly small to medium-sized companies. Yeah. I would pick up the phone to many of them for guidance, or they'd ring us for advice or whatever. So it's been great few days meeting people, and it's been great. Very
good. Listen, thank you very much for coming in to see us. Really appreciate it. It's nice to catch up again.
Lovely to see you.
And I must pay a visit to Longford.
You must come down.
I must come down.
Yeah, now that we're allowed.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.